It's always a fun time to come over to the farm, and in the spring when things begin to grow, and here are some blueberries that look very promising for a good crop this year, which we had last year too. Next to it is a pear tree, fairly tall. But if you notice, there's some limbs that are overhanging. And the reason they're overhanging is there's some heavy fruit on there, small at this stage. Here's a few more. This is the first year that I've had this much fruit on this pear tree. On up a little higher, there's a few. Over here some more. And about 30 feet away is another pear tree. It has a few in it, not as many as the other, but it does have some. Presently, you probably can see a sprinkler going, an oscillating sprinkler. These are close enough that I can put that down in between some of them and have plenty of capability of watering these. I don't want to get over into the water and get my camera wet, but see if we can draw them in a little bit. There they are, but they're not real clear at this distance. This short segment of video is one day later than the rest of it in this overall video, because I was out today and walked by this particular blueberry bush and found several ripened blueberries. They're just barely ripe, but they are. I did not pick them. Ripened ones, only a few, but it's encouraging to know that it's going to produce some ripened blueberries. Another few just short ways around on this same bush. It's not wanting to focus good. And maybe I'm too close, but here's another couple of them, and there's a few there. Here are 3 other blueberry bushes. These are close enough also to water with one setting of that oscillating sprinkler. These very badly need to be cleaned out. When springtime came and a good time to do it, I was occupied by some other things and just did not get over here to the farm to take care of these. But now that things have settled down, I'm going to try to improve the bushes, and right now the fertilizer and water is needed very badly for these. But I think it's in time, so we can still have a good crop for them. On these muscadine vines, here are some very tiny muscadines just beginning to form. They're focusing fairly well, but I'll put my thumb up here beside it so you can get a better idea of how small those berries are at this stage. Not even quite a pinhead size. There are 2 rows of 4, each row about 80 feet long, and being watered with a drip irrigation system from a well, and is set with a timer. And perhaps you can see this. Each plant has 4 emitters, or where the water drops out, and sometimes they get clogged up and won't be working very well. But here is another plant. Maybe you can see the water dripping here better. Clear out the remaining grass that I couldn't get close enough with my riding mower, and put fertilizer out around these. These should have been fertilized already, but again, as I said, I had some other things that were occupying my time, and I didn't make it over here. And I see a bumblebee. Oh, that. Let's see if I can see him. Oh, he flew away. Now I don't see him. From this perspective, you can see the 2 rows. I get a little bit closer, and there's a round fence post right next to one that originally supported the wire until the vineyard got large enough to support itself pretty much. And I'll move over to this side where you can get a little better view of this. And this plant is younger than the rest. For some reason, one winter, the original plant did not come back. It died, and I replaced it the following growing year. I'll move in closer on the drip. Again, that's dripping very well. Again, I said this is on a timer coming from the well. Here is something I find to be interesting. A bluebird box, and you may not be able to see it. Yeah, I think we can. This is called a slot box. There's a 1 3/8 inch high slot for birds to go in instead of a round hole. And they seem to build in this one up first during the year. If you notice, it is weathered. It should be to simulate an old dead tree with a rotten hole in it. So these are not to be painted, and they prefer something old and rustic like this. All of this open land, the open land part is tended by a hay crop of hay, which is cut about 3 times a year. And you hear some machinery running. This is the man that leases our property. I have 70 acres, and altogether there is well over 200 acres. And probably 100 of it is thereabouts is open land that has hay. This is the man that leases the property, and he is maintaining some equipment. That's a welder that he has, a gasoline motor driven welder. So there's his truck. Here is one of his tractors and a hay rake. It rakes the hay up into what's called a windrow, narrows the hay down from a broad area to a narrow area for the hay baler to come along and gather it up. Here he is welding something on the front drive end of his tractor. He is very handy with all sorts of tools and implements, and this is a hay baler over here. It produces a large round bale of hay like these that you see. Well, there are two, one behind the other. You can't see them very well. And, as we come around, here's one quite a distance out, but the camera draws it in good. When I'm out here at the farm by myself, it gets lonesome. I always like to have some company, and this time of day I can count on having some company. These cows belong to the man that leases the land from me, and he raises them off to fatten and get stronger and larger, that is, and then move on. He'll take them to the stockyard and sell them and bring in some more younger ones. So they love to come watch me. I'm going to walk up there toward them, but I think they'll probably walk away. Let's see what happens. I love to see them when they come up close. Molly, our little dog, used to come over here, and she was just fascinated with them, and they with her. Right now, the cows where I'm pointing to at the moment are fascinated with the water off a sprinkler that is between some blueberry bushes, and that water sounds good to them. Oh, the peace and quiet to be a cow. It's getting late in the day, in the afternoon, and this pasture is a long, narrow strip along the county road, and this time of day they will walk from the barn down to where my gate and driveway is, and then back up the other way. They'll do that at least twice a day. They have no shame, and should not. Should not. Some of them, the younger ones, tend to walk on away. They do their own thing, but that's what young people do, isn't it? Yonder is the road, and the sun is shining on the trees. We've been in a dark spot here, it seems, but those are trees along each side of the road. That's about it for today. I miss seeing this little one. Well, there are two little ones. They look like twins almost. Uh-oh, frightened them away. There's the other. Ah, but they'll be grown before we know it. They're having fun swatting flies.